Hi, I'm Parkson, Head of Programs at the Center for Fathering. Today, I will be speaking with Adelyn Lee. Adelyn is an accredited play therapist with Play Therapy International and founded Pandora Box Play Therapy. Adelyn strongly believes in the power of play, not just in the lives of children, but also in adults too. Her personal experiential learning from her play therapy training further reinforces her belief in the benefits of play for the individual. And so she is passionate to help children and adults to find themselves through play. Hi, Adelyn, and thank you for joining me in this video series. I hope you're doing well.
Hi, Pastor. Thank you. I'm well.
Good, good. Well, I'm very curious to find out. Maybe you can share your your journey and how you got into this play therapy, area.
Okay, I started my play therapy journey since 2013. All right, because I was deprived from play during my childhood, I would like to know how play can be able to help me in my adulthood. And I'm strongly aware that our family background, the environment we grew up in, or even our childhood experiences will affect the decisions that we make towards our issues, the way we handle our relationships, or the choices that we make in adulthood. So that is why I realized that my unresolved feelings from the past traumatic experiences during my childhood can get affected. So I would like to use play therapy to see how it can be able to help me to communicate with the little girl within me. Yes.
Wonderful. All right. So there is a personal story behind it, and you mentioned deprived of play. Would you mind just telling us a little bit more? In what way are you deprived? Were you deprived of play?
Okay, in the environment that I grew up in, boys are the ones that can go out and play, while the girls will be the ones staying at home, learning how to do house chores, learning how to be a good girl. So that is why a lot of times we don't have the opportunity to play. And once I came back from school, I was also not allowed to really play with friends. So I don't really have many friends to play with, or rather play dates. So that's what I meant by deprived from play. So
I
it's a
see.
rather serious childhood then.
So how many siblings and do you have, and how many are brothers? Are you the only girl in the family?
Yes, the only girl.
I see. Okay. So did you get to play like, cooking sets, dolls, makeup, accessorizing of dolls and the kind typical toys that girls play with?
I think I did have of course, there'll be some elements of play around, for example, but mostly playing by myself. For example, the paper dolls, dressing up. These are the things that I'll be playing alone.
I see. So most of the time you're playing alone. How about, did your parents play with you at all?
No, there's no opportunity. Mhm.
Okay, so they were probably busy working or maybe taking care of all your, all the kids, your siblings.
Mm,
All
yeah.
right. I went to your website and I read on your website the tagline which says empower children to help themselves through play. I think that sounds very interesting, but I don't quite understand. Maybe you can help me understand how do you accomplish that?
Okay, if you do realize that, for example, self-confidence, self-esteem, self-regulation, self-expression, resilience all come from self. So we need to strengthen the self within us so that the children can be able to face the issues on the reality world or rather the outside world. So coping with changes, coping with the issues in school. Yes. So parents can't be there always to protect you or to help you to resolve your issues. So rather, it will be good to empower children, okay, with the resilience or the stronger core self to handle whatever issues they may have encountered outside.
Okay, so you run this company now, you set up this company and you run certain um, programs or sessions with children. First of all, let me ask you, what's the age group of the children that you're helping?
The children that I work with is between 4 to 12 years old.
Okay, and what does
Normally with social, emotional issues. So
mm,
maybe regarding not able to regulate their emotions, or unable to manage or cope with their emotions, either in the school setting, outside setting, or the home setting. So if they're unable to cope, and then that's when they come in to seek help.
So when the child is unable to cope with their emotions, what does it usually look like? Do they throw tantrums? Do they kind of be very whiny? What does it look like?
Different children have different type of issues, but whining could be one of them. Or maybe after they encounter certain issues and suddenly they stop talking, they can communicate, but they stop talking. Instead, they start to use whining instead. So maybe they start regressing back to infancy stage or toddler stage instead. Or rather, the frequency and the intensity of the tantrums are rather bad, that it may be hurting themselves or towards hurting others.
Okay. So they might even become a little bit more aggressive, right?
Yes.
Hitting the parents, maybe throwing objects. Those are kind of telltale signs that, all right, this child is struggling with his or her emotions. So we need to help this child express or learn the correct way of expressing it and managing those emotions. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So your sessions help these children. How do you go about doing that? I mean, without without giving away your trade secret, just maybe give us a sense of what do you do in some of your sessions.
Okay, during our play sessions, we provide emotionally safe space for the child to start exploring and learn different type of strategies that they can cope with their emotions by playing out with the play mediums inside the playroom. So instead of talking, they're actually playing out the issues and learning how to resolve it. So we are there to help them to be aware of their feelings or the behaviors that they might display in the playroom, and also to help understand maybe what are the issues that they might be working on and how parents can be able to support them at home, better support them.
So it is a form of therapy, just like you go and see a counselor, but that's more of talk therapy. And then, of course, there are other kinds of therapy like art or music, So yours is specifically through play, but I think many parents might be wondering, because when you go and see a counselor, they tend to diagnose you, right? You have depression, you have manic depression, you have anxiety disorders, and so on and so forth. Do you do that in your practice?
No. So I do not give diagnosis. What I do is that we don't judge the child that comes in, whether you have needs or you do not have any, you're just having difficulties. So what we do is that to see how we can better help them. And of course, if there's signs that shows that they might have certain needs that need to take note of, we will also advise the parents accordingly for them to and refer them to the specific personnel that can help them.
Oh, okay. I think if I were the parent, I would feel a bit more assured, that you do not label my child in any way. So you are just helping the child based on the child's needs or emotional needs at that point of time, right? And so how many sessions do you typically take to help a child reach that point where the child is able to understand his or her own emotions and perhaps adequately manage it?
I would suggest minimally 12 sessions because children will need to build trust with the therapist before they start to work deeper on their issues. And it also depends on what type of issues are they having. So for some of them might have traumatic experiences, which may take longer to start working deeper and resolve that. Yes.
So do the child need some kind of a diagnosis, for example? Because otherwise parents may not know when or whether my child, this particular child, needs such a help. It could be the personality of the child, isn't it? Some children are just a little bit more introverted, more reserved, so they might not be able to discern whether it's just introversion or it is some as a result of some traumatic or some bad experiences. How can parents tell the difference?
Okay, so for children who are overwhelmed, with the emotions and they don't know how to manage that, what you can see is through their social emotional, they might display social emotional difficulties. So for example, in the peer setting, in the school setting, they might have difficulties pointed out by the teachers. For example, not mingling with the peers, playing alone, or not speaking out, or unable to express herself. The same goes at home. So introversion is that I'm quiet, but there's a difference between I'm quiet and I don't want to share with you. So there's no rapport between myself and my parents, and I don't want to share things with you because there could be unpleasant experience I had before when I try to share with you, so I stopped trying. That could also be another thing. So maybe to see what type of, based on objectives, also to see what is the difficulties that your child is having right now. What is your main concern? Is it that the child is not sharing anything with you? Is your child trying to, the frequency of the tantrums is getting more and more severe, or there's more things that you find that is a concern? You can actually seek consultation with me first to see whether is there a need or is play able to help the child.
You know, I understand that parents are the child's first playmate, right? Because that's the first person that the child sees from the time the child is born, you know, at least for the first many years. I'm not talking about, children who are sent to infant care or child care, because they spend more time with those staff, than the parents themselves. But parents are supposed to be the children's first playmates, right? Before siblings and other friends, because, as a child grows, they learn to socialize, they learn to play with other people and things like that. What are the different ways that parents can play with their children?
Okay. I would suggest one-on-one quality time first. And what would you understand from quality time?
Okay, I do teach about that in the parenting workshop. So I share about the 3 ingredients to quality time. The first one, and the most important one, is spend time with one child at a time. So I say, family time is great. Family time is fun. Family time is important. But from the child's perspective, that might not be equal to quality time, because, when you have 2 children, for example, they are different, right? And one would tend to be more outspoken than the other. I'm not saying the other one is introverted, but just less outspoken. And over time, this, quieter child might be more and more withdrawn. And this child would wish that, I wish I can just, have mommy's and daddy's attention, exclusively, because I want to ask questions. I want to share what is on my mind and what in my heart. So that's the first thing I tell parents, spend time with your children. If you have more than one child at a time. Am I right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, good.
Yes, that's one way of spending quality time. And also that quality time means that we need to focus with the child, meaning that we are not just physically there with them. Okay, I'm sitting here with you for 10 minutes, so the playtime is for 10 minutes. Okay, I'm done. No, but rather that without the phone, without any distraction, really quality presence with the child, so that you can be able to understand how the child is feeling, what the child is doing. So the child feels that you are there with them, not only physically, but you are really there, your presence. And also that maybe we can also do child-led play. So imagine you are the actor and your child is the director. So let your child lead to decide what they want to play with. Because at home, you're teaching them what to do. In school, they're also learning. So at this point, it's good for them to express themselves, to allow me to lead you on what I want to do. And for you to understand your child better this way as well.
Yep. And that, what you just mentioned, is what I teach about the second ingredient of quality time, and that's being present. So being present is, like you say, is not just being there, but being there totally, right? You don't just sit with your child and says, okay, you play and I'll look at my phones, I'll read my emails. So you're not engaging with the child, you're not interacting with the child, you are just keeping an eye. That's not enough. That's not called quality time. That's other people can do that for you, right? So I think, what you bring up is very important, in that the parents need to be fully there, interacting, engaged with the child, And the other thing you mentioned is also very, very useful, and that is child-led play, which means the child chooses what he or she wants to play with at that particular time. Because sometimes parents, when I talk to parents, many of them have a very specific and sometimes even very limited understanding of what quality time is. So, for example, a lot of fathers tell me, quality time with my child means we sit down and talk heart to heart. And I say, well, that sounds good, but not every child likes to talk heart to heart. They just want to do something, right? They want to play with Legos. They want to play with the ball. They want to watch cartoons, right? So you just got to engage your child on their terms, on his or her terms, first, all right? And let them tell you what they want to play, and you join them in that, okay? And that's something they will really appreciate and they will remember for a long time, right? Daddy or mommy, they always take interest in what I'm interested in, and they will learn to like what I like. So that's really powerful, and I think this something they call shared play, right, between the parent and the child. Okay, and I think there are lots of benefits. Maybe you can share some of the benefits of this shared play between the parent and the child.
Okay, so playing with the child, parent and child playing together, it actually creates parent-child bonding, strengthens it. So I do have parents telling me that why my child is not listening to my instruction or not following, and they got so frustrated about it. But sometimes it's about building rapport, building connection. So just for example, even when we go to work, we will have colleagues that we can listen to. We will want to listen to some bosses that we find that, oh no, I don't want to listen to you. And the reason is the same for the child, because there's not enough connection or not enough rapport built over there. So in order for you to also understand the child's perspective, understanding the child, why are you doing things this way and not in my way? So there is another things will be helpful in parent-child bonding, building the rapport. And also for the child to communicate better, so that I feel that you understand me, so I can communicate with you. I can tell you what I want instead of, no, you don't understand, so I don't want to tell you, because whatever I tell you, you won't understand at all. So that's something that will be helpful, no matter at what age. So that's what we meant by having very good parent-child bonding through play will be very, really beneficial in the long run.
I think we also need to qualify, having said that it's important for parents to be there with the child, to engage, wholeheartedly, fully present. They don't have to do it all the time. It's okay to let the child play on their own, right? And, that's, I guess they call it unstructured play, right? You don't, there are no instructions to follow. We don't tell them, okay, build a house with these Lego bricks, for example. That's kind of more structured. But unstructured means, you let them do whatever they want with anything that's available. And that's where I guess the creative juices will start to flow. So it's okay to let children play on their own. You don't have to be with the child, playing with the child every minute of your waking hours, because some parents might feel very pressurized. Oh, you mean I have to always be there when they play? No, the answer is no. In fact, I'm going to be speaking to a friend of mine who is, has set up a company also revolving around play, and he has produce this ebook, talking about how to set up, how to play, and how to walk away. All right. So you basically set it up, let the child play, and then as a parent, you can happily or safely walk away knowing the child it will be engaged for quite some time. So so I just want to put it in there so that parents will not get the impression that they have to be there all the time and they can't do their housework, they can't do their own things. So that's not true.
Yes, we can actually take it as a special playtime, telling the child that, just to prep them. So we'll have this special playtime for maybe 10 minutes a day, or maybe 30 minutes a day, once a week. That will be sufficient, as long as you can be able to manage to give your full attention to the child and allow the child to lead. And you can actually provide a lot of materials over there and let the child create the things that they want to. So for example, you can have those craft materials, not having any agenda, and then let the child comes up with what type of play that he wanted to, and you can just follow. So these are the things that will be helpful as well. Yeah.
There's also this quotation on your website which I've come across, and I really like it. It's by George Bernard Shaw, and it says, "We do not stop playing because we grow old, but we grow old because we stop playing." Why do you put that on your website? And what does this quotation mean to you?
So no matter at what age, it will be good to continue playing. And the reason being that, as we grow older, there's more stress coming from different levels. Okay. So self-care is rather important. By playing, you also create happy hormones, and also with your family members, you can also boost creativity, and you can also improve your relationship with others as well, on how to communicate, even with colleagues or even with our friends, our family members. So we can understand one another better just through the games without agenda. Yes. So
Yeah.
I find that no matter how old we are, it's good to have some playtime to clear our mind. And when we come back to all the problems that we might have a clearer idea of what we want to do then.
That's very true. I think play is not just something we do during childhood. It's beneficial for our whole lives, right? And I think, when we become adults, sometimes we get a bit too serious. We take things a little bit too serious. So play will help us kind of loosen up, relax a little. And, in America, there's something catching on, and it's called adult recess, where working people during their lunch breaks will just quickly get a bite, and then after that they will go to a certain place and play games such as tag ball, dodgeballs, or something like that, because they find it really helps them to relax, really helps them in terms of their mental health. I wish that would happen soon in Singapore, because we are talking so much about mental health, but we are not really doing much about it in real tangible ways. Now, having talked about play so much, I forgot that we didn't define play. Are you able to define play for us?
Okay. Play is something that actually helps us in our social emotional well-being. Okay, that creates positive feelings. Thinking about play, it actually helps to rewire our neurons. Okay, while playing, we will come back with more positive experiences that can make you smile as you think about it. I think that's on my side.
Would you consider playing a game of chess play?
Yes, that's also considered playing.
All right,
Yes.
that's fine. That's fine. But that's maybe a little bit more serious kind of play, where some people can really be competitive,
Yes.
Well, I read somewhere that, or quite a few people actually said this, that play is doing an activity with no real purpose, right? So when you play chess, for example, you want to win, so maybe that's a purpose. But play is something you do just for fun, right? Like, jumping around, jumping into a puddle of water, and a typical Singaporean parent would say, "Why do you do that?" Right? Well, just for fun. So that's the definition of play. That's what I read. So I think play is very important. Well, thank you for Adelyn for sharing with us about what you do, and how children or parents with children who are struggling with their emotions and not very successfully managing them, they can find help from you at Pandora Box Play Therapy. So I will be adding your links to your Facebook page and your website in the description of the video, so that parents can find you if they need you. So thank you very much, Adelyn, and I hope you have a great week ahead.
You too.